too. When you talk about being elected office, it's not one person, it's a group. Three county commissioners, 7 council members. These are individuals who any one of them don't have the power. That's the way we like it in this county and in the cities in this area. So you can't be a hindrance. You've got to work with everyone else. But at the same time, I don't want to rubber stamp. I don't want to, just because the other two believe in it, if it's not right, then say so. And maybe try to change one of them to believe your way, so that your side or your position becomes the dominant position.
So I know you've been to a lot of these meetings, and I guess that from what you're saying, you see a lot of decisions coming through there that you don't feel was right.
I see just as many I feel we're right. I think when you don't go to the meetings, what you read in the paper or see on television or even on Channel 14 or 98 is not always a good picture of how those decisions were arrived at. I don't miss very many committee meetings. I rarely miss a port meeting, an airport meeting, a city council meeting. I go to a lot of county meetings. There's a reason for that. It's learning. I go to learn. I go because I want to see how government is operating locally, see where some of the issues are, where the roadblocks are. I go to meet the people like yourself or other individuals who do take the time to come and voice their opinions. What are their opinions? Who are they? What do they think? What do they want done? It may be something I don't want done, but they're the majority, and the majority should have the say.
Good. If there were a couple of issues that are foremost in your mind regarding the county, what are those?
I think that there's a couple of hot button issues that I've been involved with for some time, and they would spill over into the county's bailiwick, what the county's responsibility are. One being the airport, which I've been involved with since I came back here in 2007, and that's because we have another airport down at Bandon that I would like to see the county work on merging that airport into the airport district, which is a countywide district. It's part of the county. It's an airport. Why are we got them separated? Why aren't the taxpayers supporting both? We wouldn't need additional taxes to do so. The current airport board may not be happy with that, but that's one of the issues that I would look at. My biggest issue is probably crime in Coos County. I want to see that top floor. We have a top floor on the jail that's unused. Right now, if someone is arrested in Coos Bay or North Bend, they're transported to Coos County, where they're booked into the jail. And I won't go into names, but there are officers who have commented on the fact, well, at least they have to walk back. And that's quite often the only punishment they've had, is they get taken to the jail, they get booked, they get turned loose, they walk back, and they wait for their court date, if their court date is even ever comes up. Meth is a problem in Coos County, and as a county commissioner, there's something I can do about that. Meth is an issue that goes beyond just, well, it's my body, I can do what I want. That's not true. Meth is responsible for the burglaries, the robberies, a lot of traffic issues, the car clouts, the thefts, even in the homes, the abusive behavior that goes on in the home, even some of our rapes and our assaults are all based on primarily one drug, meth. If you take these people and you fund your sheriff's department properly, something I don't think is being done, and you open all the beds in the jail, at least take them off the street long enough to give them and the citizens a breather. Give them an opportunity to get dry, to get away from the drugs, to go into some sort of rehab, and maybe have the opportunity to come out and break this cycle of go to jail, get out, buy drugs, go back to jail again. At the same time, that's someone who's not out breaking a $300 window in your car to steal 75 cents worth of change to go get their $10 worth of meth. At the same time, you are getting these people into a program where maybe, just maybe, you can get them back out on the street and productive instead of coming back and taking what is yours. So everybody wins when you open those jails. if you keep them in long enough where it does some good. Not just for the punitive side, for the physical side, to let their body get over this poison that they've been putting in it. So the jail is a big issue with me, and the needs of the Sheriff's Department is a really big issue. I have a background in law enforcement, not from the law enforcement side, but from the jail side of it. I was the shift commander for a brief time in my 4-year career with the Arizona State Prison System, where I obtained the rank of sergeant. And I was the day shift commander at one of their new prisons, and was actually on the SWAT team. So I know what the convicts think. Also, as a shooter, I'm a cowboy action shooter. Actually, I don't shoot cowboys, but I have done a lot of competition with law enforcement officers, and I know how they think and what they think. And the biggest issue we have, the biggest #1 issue we have with crime in Coos County is meth. And if we get these people off the street, they're not using meth at that time, and they're not breaking into your car. So that's a big issue. I think the county needs to get more involved with the railroad. The railroad is a critical part. If you and I never see a train roll, never one, is irrelevant. It's what about our children and our grandchildren? Because if you take the railroad away, you take industry away. Now, I know one of the good things in this county has been the people who have come here to retire and live. And they came here after the bust of the 80s, and they're perfectly satisfied that we don't have mills and big industry. But the reality is, these people, myself included, a baby boomer, are not going to be here in 20 or 30 years. And we're going to need industry for those children that will be here. And if you lose that railroad, once those rails come up, it will never return. And if it doesn't return, you will never get the industry. And without the industry, you will not be supporting your families with anything other than menial jobs.
Well, you bring up a very good point, Steve, and points, I should say. I wanted to ask you about the airport, but I'm going to put that aside for right now, and maybe we can revisit that, why that would be a benefit to combine both airports. You bring up the jail. The first thing I have to say about that, how are you going to fund it? You got to have some creative ways of funding. But then you go to the railroad. These are all vital topics and important to this community. But it appears to me, and I'm not an expert, but just a layman, and then I'm a reporter, so I notice things. It seems like the retirees and the tourist dollars is all that this area is, the government, the local government, is interested in. It doesn't seem that they're interested in the railroad. Bringing in industry, because they're getting tourist dollars and they're getting the retirees moving here and bringing their money here. How do you change that?
That's good money. You have to change it, because our children cannot grow up and raise families on tourist dollars. It's a good place for them to work while they're young, but when they're 35 or 40 and they have children of their own, this is not a good place to be. How do you fund it? You can fund it. You've got to cut the fluff out to do what is needed in the hard times. Bring the fluff back when times get better. Right now, we need to take care of what's critical, what's important. The infrastructure, get our roads in good condition and keep them in good condition. I won't get into the contest with anyone about what was good or bad about the road department. I wasn't there, but that's something I'll look at to see what those needs are. Find new businesses to come in here. Keep the businesses we have. I'm not a believer. Don't bring in a big box store to run 6 other businesses.